I know, like, I'm to click that somehow and get rid of it, because that's gonna take it almost 3. Oh, okay, look at that.
Kneel up. Yes.
Okay, it's gonna be taking more. So it's practically like there's overlap.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi. Hi, here I am.
I just introduced you to the board.
Okay, cool. Great. Just observing tonight.
So we have hit the 7 o'clock hour. I think we're ready to get going now that we all have agendas. So we'll call this to order. I mean, considering we just got this, I don't think we need to add anything to it. So I think we'll go to privilege of the floor. I would like to just point out 2 things. One, try to keep to 3 minutes. If you're going to speak about what we're about the, the agenda item, you'll have a chance then. And that we are not professionally paid. We are your neighbors that are doing this or volunteering our time to be here. So keep that in mind when you're thinking of what to say. And on that, do we have anybody that would like to speak? Privilege of the floor. Okay, let's get rolling then. Approval of the minutes.
You guys get the minutes? Go to step 1.
Do people have any changes to the minutes? Do people feel comfortable moving forward to approve them? Do you need a
Motion.
I will make a motion to approve September, October minutes.
I'll second. One fell swoop.
nice?
Bergman,
Yes.
Cowan,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
minutes approved.
Fine. Okay, town board liaison report.
Any tips, David?
It may help to turn off the public comment mic and the other corded mic that might be behind people on the small desk.
Hey,
You can also turn off your mics when you're not using them, but then you have to remember to turn them on.
yes. Okay, so
Leslie, I see you.
let's
are
do the
there.
town board liaison report. Oh.
You can go ahead, Leslie. Oh, you're unmuted, but we're not hearing you.
Yeah, third. Nope.
Oh, and Jamie's here.
David, on my screen, it appears, oh, now she's unmuted. Now she's muted.
David, while they're looking at that, can you review? I see Jamie's here virtually. Can
Yes.
you review about voting?
Yes, so Jamie is attending virtually. We spoke earlier. The way the policy works is we need to give notice for someone to be able to vote virtually. Jamie felt sick today, so obviously there's no notice. So she will participate, but doesn't count towards the quorum and can't vote. which, you know, it's a little silly. Obviously, you can't give notice of becoming sick, but that's the state law. So we're kind of stuck with it for now.
It begs the question how far ahead the notice needs to be.
Luckily, we made quorum without it. Thanks to all 4 of you for being there. Each person's important. Leslie, do you want
Leslie,
to
is
try
your mic
calling in?
working?
You want to call in?
Or do we want to table it for next month?
My lip reading says next month.
Okay. All right, so thank you. Development review. And so reviewing Valley Road parcel 17.1-26. I believe we looked at this one last time, and we had some questions about the placement of the house, the acreage, and it had been noticed that there was a endangered bird, I think it was, that uses that land, and we were looking for some guidance on how we treat that, what does that mean, and also talking again about how the town voted to have that as part of the hamlet. So did we get any information about either recommendations from that or more information?
We did. So I got solicited feedback from both the DEC and Tompkins County Planning. Tompkins County Planning provided a letter, and it's linked in the folder there. It only came today, so you probably haven't read it. So I'm just gonna throw up my little cheat sheet for you to see. Okay. So the planning department at the county sent the following. We do not have any recommended modifications on this proposal, but the department offers the following comment regarding the proposed project. The county suggests the town or applicant reach out to New York State DEC, Bureau of Wildlife, as their staff is qualified to provide feedback on northern harrier habitat. A local resource you may want to contact is the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, as their staff can answer questions regarding bird habitats. We did reach out to the staff at the Region 7 Wildlife Office, who said the following. I've taken a look at the parcel. It's too small and disjunct from the known harrier use areas to have an impact on the species. So I think that's very useful and clear feedback. That was great to have for the board. Basically that because this area is so small and because it's not connected to larger areas, it's really not a substantial impact on the species from their perspective.
Makes sense. I know we thought that might be the case, but I'm glad we have backup and stuff. So thank you for getting a hold of that. Yeah, I had to click the accepting it. That was from David, because
David, you're recording, right?
No,
Yes.
I think that might be Ted recording.
it is cutting.
Okay, so let's just make sure David's recording too.
I am now recording. Thank you for.
Okay, super, thanks.
we need to wait for it to pop up and say you're recording.
No, it already said that when Ted said it, which is why.
Okay. So is all that's left is to vote on this, because we started the form, correct?
we started the form, but we did not complete seeker. So
Right,
the two things left before the board are to complete seeker and then to approve with conditions or deny the application. So I
Okay.
can put back up the seeker form we were working on. So many buttons. Okay. So we were starting through our standard questions. What we agreed it would not create a conflict with the adopted land use plan. I do want to point out, it was pointed out to me before this meeting, our paperwork was incorrect. This isn't the Hamlet neighborhood zone, it's the Hamlet center zone. That doesn't change any of the requirements for subdivision. So that doesn't affect the application, but I want to make sure that you all understand that it is in the Hamlet center zone, which is where the town wants to see growth and subdivision and development. Would it result in a proposed in the use or intensity of land? One thing, questions about secret to you guys when you go into the seeker handbook and really go through their information step by step on questions. One of the things that I think this question comes up frequently when you talk about the use or intensity of use of the land, what they're actually talking about is the zoning, not the current use. So under seeker, something going from undeveloped to developed, but within what the town's plan for that area and its zoning, that's not considered a substantial change in the intensity of land, even though obviously going from not used to used, the change, if it's what the town is zoned for, that's not considered to be a significant change. Will the proposed action impair the character and quality of the existing community? I think we were comfortable with no. And we don't have critical environmental areas. There weren't concerns about infrastructure, traffic. It was down at the questions about adverse changes to natural resources, wetlands, water body, flora and fauna, where I think we ran into questions because of this bird species. With those questions answered, does anyone have any concerns about all no or small impact on the rest of these questions for part 2? Do you want to talk about?
I think we just had that one, we talked about it quite a bit last meeting. I think we had that one question that we needed a little more information and we've got it. So I think we're ready to keep moving on. We're good with all those.
Okay, we had drafted, or I had drafted part 3. I'll read through it. Based on the information provided in part 1 in consideration of the full application package, as well as the testimony of the applicant and neighbors, the planning board finds that any impacts of the proposed subdivision will be small. Proposed subdivision is on land that's already cleared and has been mowed as lawn for many years. The area is designated by the town of Danby comprehensive plan as the appropriate location for infill development. Proposed new lot is within the West Danby Water District and has capacity to serve the parcel. Which brings us to a need for a motion to either determine based on the information analysis that the proposed action may result in one or more large or significant impacts, or that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts.
I'll make a motion that it will not result in any significant adverse impact.
Second. No, I was saying, we're looking for a
You're
second.
asking for a second. I thought you
Yeah.
said it.
No,
I'm sorry.
Second.
I'm just smiling. Okay. Which one did you second? I did. Okay.
Alyssa, did you do a roll call?
Cowan.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Bergman.
Yes.
That motion passed.
Okay. I will share the decision template. Ed, you did say at the beginning of the meeting that you were going to open discussion. We already did hold a public hearing for this, but you might consider opening public discussion if people held their comments because they expected it before a vote on the application.
David, is there any way to turn up your volume?
No, this way,
You on
talking louder.
your end?
I
Can you turn it up on your end?
I don't think I can, but I can be louder.
Okay, thanks.
I think it's just distance from the mic that's at issue.
So, Greg, I think we open this up to a public hearing to see if anybody has any other feedback or additional comments about this before we move on to the next step. Joel?
Did you just call on me?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What I was fishing for last time, but I'm not sure it registered, is that once this back lot is carved off, the logical place for the water to come from, of course, is from Valley View Road, which is not where the frontage is. And I think it would include a requirement that be a utility easement across the front properties to access the back property for water and then maybe even power, eventually sewer. But unless there's some provision for it, there's no guarantee that these, in fact, virtually guaranteed they will not be forever under the same ownership. And an easement would guarantee that there would be no difficulties with access to run the service in from Valley View. Thanks.
Somebody else have any comments right now? Bruce, if you're trying to talk, we can't hear you. You're still muted.
Well, I'm here with the West Millers and I was trying to act as the interpreter between town talk and street talk here. So, so they understood exactly what was happening. That's all. I wasn't trying to address the board. I'm sorry if it appeared that I was.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure you weren't trying to share with us and not able.
I know where the button is to raise my hand now, so I feel like I've really come a long way.
So I guess, again, we'll give it a chance for somebody else if they want to comment. I guess, David, what all would be involved in setting up an easement? And would the other property owners need to be involved in that, or would that be part of the sale? Or the building permit, or what?
So I assume that an easement will happen to serve at least two wherever the house gets placed. But I'm not sure if what Joel was suggesting is that an easement that would also serve additional possible future houses along the front of the parcel, or if you just meant making sure that permission was granted to get water to the house. You know, it would be reasonable, I think, for the board to make a condition that there be an easement granted from one of the street fronting properties to get the service to any proposed future house. But I also don't know if you need to do that. I mean, it's going to happen. They have to get cross easement to get the utility across the parcel. So I guess it comes down to the substantiality of it. If it's just to the house or if it's along the road frontage, it's hard to justify requiring extension beyond where the service is needed. Bruce, it looks like you're raising your hand. Have they talked about an easement already?
I believe that since this is under common ownership of one family and the piece that's being separated will be for the son to build on, that they already know that that the water and power will have to come across the front lot, and that it have to be covered by a utility easement in order to do that. I don't think anyone had contemplated that being shared for the entire road frontage along 3496.
Does that answer your question, Ed?
Yeah, I think so. So they've already worked it out, is what they're saying. And like you said, it's not for us to right now to put in easements for everybody that might move in, that they've already got the easement worked out. So both the house and what's splitting off with their son is going to have access to utilities. Is that correct?
I think the concern that Joel expressed would apply in the instance where, God forbid, somebody gets hit by a truck the day after this approval goes through and the lots end up separated under a will and the easement never gets made. The easement would have to be in place in order for the home build to get a loan. But it wouldn't need to be in place if it wasn't a requirement for the lot to be created. So, you know, there is some small potential if it wasn't a condition to have a property grant an easement, that something crazy could happen and you could end up with no easement and the parcel sold into separate ownership. The headache that would create is the owner of the non-access parcel would have to negotiate an easement with somebody.
So how difficult would it be for us to add an easement requirement to what we've already done, basically?
It would be a simple condition.
Okay.
Happen anyway.
See if we have any other
Under
comments.
their proposed idea of what's gonna happen, then it's not really impeding their development of the property if they're already talking about it. So it
I
wouldn't
agree.
hurt to put it in there.
So we make a motion to add that in there. Would that be the step? Okay.
Let's see if anyone else-
Anybody else have any thoughts or comments about this? About adding the easement? Okay, I think we'll. Yes, so we're gonna go ahead and close the public hearing then. And move on to the next part of this. Are you gonna put it up on the, there it is, thank you.
So it sounds like we're talking about approve with conditions, with the one condition, the utility easement be designated to provide water access to the new parcel. And that would be something that would be designated on the plat that the chair of the planning board would sign to officially bless the subdivision. Is anyone ready to make that motion?
I will make a motion for final subdivision approval.
I'll second it. All right.
Roll call.
Calvin,
Yes.
Davis. Maher,
Yes.
Bergman.
Yes.
That was approved. And I'll get you the resolution number. One second.
David, that's
Did I hear-
resolution number 19.
19. Thank you. So, Bruce, can you accurately convey final subdivision approval has been granted? The next step for the applicant will be to get the survey updated, show on there with dash lines where utility easement will be to get water access to that back parcel. And you and I, or the applicant and I, can connect about making sure we get the correct signature wording on that survey for the planning board chair to sign. Once you have that from the surveyor, you'll bring it to my office. I'll get Jody to sign it. You'll take it to county assessment. They'll create the new bill the West Millers for now owning 2 parcels, and then they'll take that to the county clerk, who will record it in the land ownership records. We can follow up with questions.
Nobody has any questions following up on that planner report? Is what we're at.
Yeah, I
So-
have some excellent news that we just got today.
So,
It's always exciting to break.
the blank survey.
What's that?
Bruce, are you
Blank
talking to
survey.
the board?
Blank survey. Blank.
Yeah,
Bruce,
one that
you
doesn't say
unmuted
Bruce
yourself.
Richardson and Tom on it. It's gonna be a blank survey.
Bruce.
I
Thank
muted
you.
him.
Okay.
Oh, good news.
Yes.
So we just learned a couple hours ago that we are receiving the $500,000 grant for low-income homeowner home repairs in the next year. So we should be able to help 11 to 13 low-income households do needed upgrades and repairs to their houses. The next step, as soon as we get the official letter, is to put out an RFP for a company to run that program. And then we'll be accepting applications for the program, and we'll have 2 years to run that program and get those repairs done. We also, I think since the last planning board, received word on a $10,000 grant from Tompkins County for more grant writing assistance for next year. So this current year, we were working with a $5,000 grant. The bill for the grant writing ended up being about $7,500. So I put in for more money. And we can hopefully do more grants as well. And one of my goals is for the planning department every year to bring in grants at least twice my salary. So I'm glad we've exceeded that this year. And hope to continue providing value in that way. Other than that, I don't have a huge amount to report this month. Getting COVID sucked. I don't recommend it. We are still wrapping up the final stages of the solar process, but I think the only thing left right now is Joel's signature. So we finished discussion on the two pieces that were left from site plan review, which was the decommissioning plan and the contracts associated with that. So that is all done, wrapped up with the help of Guy, our attorney. A lot of back and forth. And I think we held our ground and came to, I think, what is a good place on it that protects the town really well. So glad to see that done, and more importantly, done right. And I'm glad that we can have that feather in our cap, and we'll see, what happens when the project actually moves forward. I think it's probably too late for much of anything to be done this year at this point. I think that's it that I have ready to talk about today. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have questions or concerns about planning related things in the town.
And Leslie figured out how to how to unmute herself if you want to hear the liaison report.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thanks, Joel.
You're welcome.
Lucky you.
Well, there's not much been going on except for budget, and then a little more budget. We had lots of extra meetings about the budget, but we finally worked out something. And in spite of what you may have heard, we all worked really hard to keep expenses down. The general fund was up about 20,000 more than last year, and highway was about 130,000 more than last year because of but I think we did pretty well. The public hearing, we had 4 people come that don't normally come to meetings, and 2 of those people spoke. Some of the things they talked about was, well, in general, that the town newsletter is a waste of money. We should use local talent available at no cost for things. Shouldn't be giving money to private entities such as the park or Jennings Pond. And also that we don't need a planner. That was another piece of feedback. So I mean, most people come, and when they talk, they have complaints or things that they would like to have fixed. And there were actually some good suggestions, but that's it. I thought that was pretty funny.
I think we've proved here tonight that we desperately need a planner. So we need to have a planner. So.
Yeah. Well, especially if he's raising, he's getting grants, so yeah.
That was the other thing I did want to say. That's amazing. And I can't wait till we can get that going and get those repairs that are needed done. That's excellent.
Thanks. I'm really excited about it. And the grant that we got for grant writing next year specifically includes that we're going to have a public process about deciding what grants to go after. That program is about housing. So the grants have to connect with housing and affordability in some way. But we're going to have, as part of that process, several opportunities to get more input from the community on the very, very, very front end of this stuff to guide, to get people to understand what funding is available and what it can go towards, and to prioritize what we pursue. So I'm very excited about that.
Thank you.
Me too.
So I think we're at the end of our agenda and ready to adjourn. And you'll be here next time, right? In December, David, you're going to be here? Say yes. Say yes.
God willing, yes.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you everybody for coming tonight, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.